is to find the truth in every situation. If I'm not...
Under the blinding lights of the Dolby Theater, a woman stands trembling, tears glistening on her cheeks as the world rises to its feet. Octavia Spencer clutches the golden Oscar, her voice cracking, "Thank you for putting me in the kitchen, but letting me cook." It's a moment of triumph that feels impossible. A shy girl from Montgomery, Alabama, who once thought her dreams were too big for someone like her. Behind that radiant smile lies a lifetime of rejection, typecasting, and the quiet pain of being told she didn't look like a Hollywood star. But this is not a story about defeat. It's a story about defiance, about a woman who turned every no into a louder yes, who refused to fit into the mold the world built for her, from cleaning houses with her mother to standing among the greatest in cinema. Octavia Spencer's journey is more than inspiring. It's proof that true talent doesn't ask for permission. This is the story of how one woman shattered Hollywood's expectations and found her own light in the shadows. Montgomery, Alabama, the heart of the American South, a place where the summer heat clings to your skin and dreams often fade beneath the weight of history. It was here on May 25, 1970, that Octavia Lenora Spencer was born. The sixth of 7 children in a small, crowded home filled with noise, laughter, and survival. Her mother, Delsena Spencer, worked as a maid and a nurse's aide. She was the family's quiet backbone, strong, tired, yet unbreakable. Octavia often watched her mother leave before sunrise, still wearing the same gentle smile. That smile would become a symbol of dignity amid hardship. Her father died when she was just 13. The loss left a silence that lingered in the house, a reminder that life in Montgomery wasn't fair, especially for a black family struggling to make ends meet. But inside that small world of poverty and prejudice, Octavia found something extraordinary: imagination. She would hide in her room, watching movies on TV, fascinated by the magic of storytelling. She loved Whoopi Goldberg and Johnny Depp, but deep down, she wondered if Hollywood would ever make space for someone who looked like her. At school, she was shy but observant. Her teachers saw intelligence. Her classmates saw humor. She wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but she felt everything deeply. Montgomery shaped her, not just through pain, but through empathy. She learned that kindness could be a weapon, and that laughter could heal. Years later, she would say, "My mother taught me to dream, even when the world told me not to." That dream, fragile but unbroken, would one day carry her far beyond Alabama's red dirt roads, into the heart of Hollywood itself. After graduating from Auburn University with a degree in liberal arts, Octavia packed her car, left Alabama behind, and drove to Los Angeles, a city where millions arrive with the same impossible dream. But Hollywood didn't open its doors easily. At first, she worked behind the scenes as a casting assistant and production aide. Long hours, little pay, no recognition. But she was learning, watching, understanding how the industry really worked. She once said, "Being invisible taught me more than being noticed ever could." In 1996, a chance came. A small background role in Joel Schumacher's courtroom drama, A Time to Kill. Octavia was just supposed to help with casting, but when Schumacher saw her energy, he insisted she appear on camera. It was only one line, one moment, yet it changed everything. For years afterward, she became the face of the funny nurse, the sassy neighbor, the background friend. Dozens of small roles, Spider-Man, being John Malkovich, Legally Blonde 2. Each time, she gave more than the role required. Each time, Hollywood looked right past her, but Octavia never stopped. She studied scripts late into the night, practiced voices, studied performances, quietly refining her craft while the world overlooked her. Behind her humor was hunger. Behind every smile, a silent promise. One day, they'll see me. She faced rejection not just as an actress, but as a woman who didn't fit Hollywood's narrow idea of beauty. Casting directors told her she was too real, too ordinary. Yet that authenticity would soon become her greatest strength. 15 years of being almost seen, until one story, one film, and one fearless character finally made her impossible to ignore. By 2011, Octavia Spencer had spent over a decade playing roles that rarely made the credits. But then came The Help, the film that changed everything. Director Tate Taylor, a longtime friend who had seen her quiet brilliance, fought to cast her as Minnie Jackson, a bold, no-nonsense maid with a wicked sense of humor and a heart full of scars. Minnie wasn't just a character. She was the voice of every woman who'd ever been underestimated, dismissed, or silenced. When Octavia stepped onto that set, something shifted. Each scene carried the weight of her own mother's struggles, every laugh wrapped around pain, every glare laced with dignity. Her performance was not acted. It was lived. When The Help premiered, critics erupted in praise. Audiences wept. And for the first time, the world truly saw Octavia Spencer. At the 84th Academy Awards, her name echoed across the stage. And the Oscar goes to Octavia Spencer. The crowd rose. Tears streamed down her face. For a moment, time stopped. The girl from Montgomery had conquered Hollywood. Her Golden Globe, BAFTA, and Screen Actors Guild Awards followed. But more than trophies, they symbolized a shift. Octavia had proven that depth and humanity mattered more than stereotypes. The years that followed only deepened her legacy. Hidden Figures, The Shape of Water, Fruitvale Station, Ma, Self-Made. She portrayed scientists, mothers, killers, and queens, each with the same emotional truth. From supporting roles to starring ones, she never lost humility. Her laughter still filled rooms. Her southern warmth disarmed cynics. She carried the same message everywhere. There's power in being real. Octavia Spencer had finally risen, not as a Hollywood type, but as a Hollywood force. Fame, as Octavia soon discovered, doesn't always come with freedom. After the Oscar glow faded, the scripts began to arrive. But many felt painfully familiar. Different titles, same story. The maid, the sidekick, the woman who makes the star shine, but never gets her own light. Hollywood's love, it seemed, had conditions. She faced what few dare to say aloud, a quiet form of discrimination that doesn't make headlines but breaks spirits. Directors told her she was too specific, not commercial enough, better in small doses. Behind her calm smile, the sting of invisibility returned. Then came the pay gap. When she learned that her co-stars, white actresses she admired, were making several times her salary, she spoke out. Not with anger, but with clarity. "Equality isn't just for one of us," she said. "It's for all of us." The backlash was subtle yet sharp. Fewer calls, fewer offers, but Octavia refused to shrink again. There were nights when she questioned if her moment had already passed, if Hollywood had only wanted a single story from her. Yet even in that doubt, she held on to the same grit that carried her from Montgomery's red dirt to the Oscar stage. She knew she couldn't control who saw her, but she could control how she showed up. And so, instead of waiting for better roles, Octavia Spencer decided to create them. This wasn't a fall. It was a reckoning. The quiet, burning moment before reinvention. When the doors of Hollywood stopped opening, Octavia Spencer built her own. She realized that the only way to change the system was to rewrite the rules. And this time, she would be holding the pen. So she stepped behind the camera, launching her own production company, Orit Entertainment, with a mission to bring underrepresented voices to the screen. Not just stories about struggle, but stories about triumph, joy, and complexity. Octavia began producing and starring in roles that reflected her own evolution. Strong, layered women with purpose. In Self-Made, she embodied Madam C.J. Walker, the first self-made female millionaire in America. In Truth Be Told, she played a relentless investigative journalist unafraid to confront uncomfortable truths. Each role echoed her reality, a woman carving power from a world that once denied it to her. Behind the scenes, she became a mentor and advocate, pushing for fair pay, inclusive hiring, and respect for artists of color. When her friend Jessica Chastain discovered the massive pay gap between them, Octavia spoke up, and the two negotiated together, ensuring both women received equal compensation. It was a quiet revolution, built on solidarity instead of rivalry. Octavia had transformed from an overlooked actress into a leader, one who wasn't waiting for validation anymore. Her redemption didn't come from Hollywood's approval. It came from self-definition. Through every project, she carried one simple truth. You can't play small to make others comfortable. You've got to take up space and stay there. This was no comeback. It was a rebirth. The rise of a storyteller who finally owned her story. Octavia Spencer's legacy isn't measured only in trophies, though she has plenty of those. It's written in the faces of every woman who watched her rise and whispered, "If she can, maybe I can too." She redefined what a Hollywood success story could look like. No perfect image, no glamorous scandal, just honesty, talent, and relentless perseverance. Her presence opened doors for others, for actresses like Danielle Brooks, Niecy Nash, and Ingenue Ellis, women who once faced the same walls she broke through. Beyond acting, her advocacy reshaped the conversation around diversity and inclusion. She pushed studios to see that representation isn't charity, it's evolution. Every time she stands on a red carpet or behind a producer's chair, she represents a movement larger than herself. In interviews, she often laughs, brushing off compliments with her signature humility. But those who know her best, from Viola Davis to Guillermo del Toro, describe her as a force of nature wrapped in kindness. She leads not by volume, but by example. Octavia Spencer has become more than an actress. She is a mirror reflecting the power of authenticity. Proof that greatness doesn't require permission, and beauty isn't confined to a type. Her story tells millions. You don't have to fit the picture to belong in the frame. Sometimes being yourself is the most radical act of all. Fame can amplify a person or consume them. For Octavia Spencer, it became a mirror. After years of chasing recognition, she learned that peace doesn't come from applause. It comes from purpose. Away from the cameras, she lives a quiet, grounded life. No lavish mansions splashed across tabloids, no chaos of celebrity drama. Just a woman who still calls Alabama home, who still finds joy in cooking, reading, and writing stories of her own. She's spoken openly about her battles with anxiety and self-doubt, admitting that even success can feel lonely. But rather than hiding it, she uses that vulnerability to connect, to remind others that strength isn't the absence of fear, but the choice to keep going anyway. Octavia gives back in ways that feel deeply personal, funding scholarships for underprivileged students, mentoring young filmmakers, supporting organizations that empower women and minorities in film. She often says, "If my journey means anything, it's that you don't have to be loud to make noise. You just have to be honest." With time, she's found grace in stillness, understanding that legacy isn't built on fame, but on the lives we touch quietly. For Octavia, the greatest role she'll ever play isn't on a screen. It's being herself, authentically, unapologetically, and with the same compassion that carried her from Montgomery to the world stage. Under the spotlight, Octavia Spencer smiles, the same shy, wide-eyed girl from Montgomery now standing before the world, not as an image, but as a truth. Her journey wasn't paved with privilege or perfection. It was built from late nights, quiet prayers, and the courage to keep believing when no one else did. The little girl who once doubted her reflection now teaches millions to embrace theirs. She has shown that greatness isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's earned by those who refuse to disappear. As the camera slowly pulls away, we see her walking off stage, her Oscar glinting faintly in her hand. But the real prize isn't gold, it's freedom. The freedom to be seen, to be heard, to be enough. Her story reminds us that every barrier, every rejection, every moment of doubt can be turned into something powerful. Because when talent meets faith and humility meets fire, history changes. Octavia Spencer didn't just win an Oscar. She won something greater, the right to define her own story. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of victory that lasts forever.